questions unanswered this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Mendoza.
Growing up as a military brat and moving around from year to year, and really just thankful to be able to call it any place your home. But I didn't think that when my dad first moved us here to Fort Gordon back in 1992, that I'd come back to be a part of something so special. The merging of two schools and the opening of a brand new building to house what is now one school, Lamar Millage Elementary, is something that many adults in Richmond County school system will never forget. But let's not forget that we're not here this evening for the adults in the school system. We're here to celebrate the hard work and dedication that many adults have committed so that children will have a safe place to learn. I'm currently in my 6th year teaching 8th grade language arts at Betishek Middle School in Austin, Texas. And let me let you in on a little secret. I never wanted to be a teacher. It was never something that I mentioned when they asked you what you wanted to do when you grow up. But every day that I work with my students, which is the same middle school that I attended, I'm just reminded of how much teachers have an impact on young people. If it weren't for a violin teacher at Terrace Manor Elementary School, who came to play Pop Goes the Weasel for my 3rd grade class on her violin, then I probably would have never had the idea to learn to play the violin. And I would have never been a music therapy student at the University of Georgia. If it weren't for a group of 4th grade teachers at Terrace Manor Elementary, one of whom's in the audience right now, who took a risk and planned a 4th grade class field trip to Disney World, then I would have never believed at such a young age that dreams really do come true. If it weren't for my 5th grade teacher at Terrace Manor Elementary, who is in the audience right now, who always knew the right things to say and the right time to say them in, then I definitely would not be standing here right now. In addition to my 6 years of teaching, I've also completed 3 seasons of coaching 7th and 8th grade volleyball. I'm in my 2nd year of working with 16 teachers as a language arts department chair. And I'm finishing my 1st semester of grad school in pursuit of a Master of Liberal Arts degree. With all these roles constantly pulling at me in different directions, my 5th grade teacher over the years taught me how important it is to be in the moment. And as teachers, we're pulled in so many different directions because there's a lot that's expected of us. It's easy to forget that students are human beings too, and they have emotions and feelings too. And I'd like to think that I'm really fortunate to have a lot of memories and a lot of moments in my educational career which serve as examples of how to be a good teacher. I remember these moments because these were times that teachers took the time to look at me as the person, not just me, the student. And I don't really know how to explain that without sounding cliche, so let me share with you a few of these moments. In the 5th grade, I was withdrawn from Terrace Manor Elementary School before the end of the school year so that my parents could attend to a family emergency back in Texas. And when I received a phone call from the main office that day, it was already lunchtime. And I couldn't believe it when my dad told me that was going to be my last day. And my 5th grade teacher took off and filled out the paperwork, and I went back to the cafeteria and sat there in shock. And I couldn't have been more thankful that day that my bus was always late, because it gave me time to talk to my teacher, and she gave me my final assignment on a little sticky note that said, if you write me, I'll write you back. And 20 years later, we still correspond. When I made the Richmond County Honor Orchestra, when I made the 8th grade football team, when my grandparents died, when I earned my driver's license, when I took the SAT, when I was accepted to the UGA School of Music, when I graduated from high school number 19 in my class, when I was scared because I was 1,000 miles away from home on September 11th, When I graduated from the University of North Texas and completed an alternative teacher certification program, when I was hired for my first teaching job, when I received my Georgia teacher certification, when I was accepted to St. Edward's University for grad school, there was always a teacher there for me. Because at some point, they took the time to know me as a person, and I knew I could always count on them. That's why I'm a teacher. I want my students to accomplish their wildest dreams. I want to push them to the highest levels. I want them to always feel important, and I want them to always know that they can count on me. I've turned to many teachers over the years, but none have come close to being such an amazing mentor as Principal Ray Robinson has been. And I'll let you know. Ms. Robinson was my 5th grade teacher. And how she finds the time to mentor me while opening a new school and always making sure that her teachers, her parents, her students are taken care of, I will never understand. And even though I often get to observe, whether I was at Old Millage, at Lamar, and now at John Millage, I still don't understand what she does and how she does it. But what I do understand is that I wouldn't be here today without teachers like Ms. Robinson. And I am the person that I am because of my experiences, definitely in Richmond County schools. My students are going to benefit from the teacher that I just want to thank you so much for allowing me to be here this evening. And I would challenge you to say thank you to a teacher in your own special way. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful reflections. It's always great to see how school has affected lives in such a positive way and how our teachers can have such a major impact on our students.